Thank you. A topic few families discuss in detail: what to expect when someone you love dies. If you don't know your rights, you could be taken advantage of when you are most vulnerable.
We have been looking into complaints against funeral homes. 7 News anchor Diane Lee brings us this investigation: grievances over grief.
Ask yourself, if a loved one died today, would you know what to expect from a funeral home? Most families don't know how the industry is regulated, or that there are state documents that detail how some funeral homes and funeral directors have violated the rules. In this investigation, we discovered those public reprimands don't always stop funeral homes from committing new offenses, which is why it is so important for you to be informed before you ever experience the loss of a loved one. If Anita McMillan had not been a meticulous person,
it's a headache.
If she had not researched her rights,
I shouldn't have to go through this.
Then the owner of these 2 upstate funeral homes may still have his license as a funeral director.
I started having nightmares about my dad and stuff.
Her daddy, Winfred Lee Ming Sr., died in June of 2014. The family trusted funeral director Michael Glenn to handle the arrangements, but when the daughter went to his funeral home in Union, Glenn wouldn't quote a firm price, which sent up red flags for McMillan.
And I was like, well, do not bury my father. Do not have a funeral. If you're not going to tell me the price, do not do it.
Federal law requires funeral homes to offer families a written contract breaking down the precise costs with the customer signing an agreement. McMillan signed nothing. State documents show Glenn, quote, conducted the service anyway, but did not bury Mr. Mings, even though a grave had already been opened.
I had to keep calling him, but he would not release the body. He was holding the body for ransom.
Can a funeral home or a funeral director hold a body or cremations until that family pays up?
No, and I believe that would come under the unprofessional conduct of our Practice Act. You cannot withhold the body or the remains from a cremation for payment.
Dean Grigg is the Deputy Director for Professional and Occupational Licensing with South Carolina's Department of Labor Licensing and Regulation. LLR helps to make sure funeral homes and directors follow state code. When families who feel wronged file claims,
I was scared to do it, but I had no other choice.
The Board of Funeral Service investigates. That probe into Michael Glenn found Mr. Ming's remains were not kept refrigerated for roughly a year.
I was hurt and upset and didn't see how somebody could do a person like that.
In 2015, the board's findings, which are public record on LLR's website, declared Glenn's license permanently revoked.
I thought maybe he was never going to be able to do this again.
At least that's what she hoped.
I didn't know what was appropriate because I've never planned a funeral.
Tina Weathers lost her mother, Carol Joyce Dangerfield, in February of this year. Community Mortuary in Union conducted the funeral, still owned by Michael Glenn. This sign hung there years ago when the home had his name before he lost his license.
In the church, after my mother's funeral, he said, I just want you to know you have 30 days from cremation to pick up her remains, or we have the right to discard the remains. And my cousin said, let me see if I understand you correctly. Did you just say you were going to throw away her mother, trash her mom if she don't pay in 30 days? Oh no, he said, oh no, I didn't say that. I said respectfully discard her remains. This was not even 10 minutes after the funeral. My mother's body was still in the church.
She said since Glenn made funeral and cremation arrangements, she thought he was the licensed director. It wasn't until we pointed out the signature on her documents that she learned the truth.
I was surprised to see that. That shocked me to see that. I just didn't know.
The state can't comment on investigations, but we were there when Weathers filed a complaint with LLR.
If you're not a funeral director and you work in a funeral home, what are you not allowed to do?
Well, you certainly can't hold yourself out to be a funeral director. That would be in a nutshell. You couldn't engage in those making arrangements of the funeral service or of the cremation. You couldn't engage in, again, making arrangements for the transportation or the collecting, the gathering, and the holding, storing of the body, caring for the body.
Financial arrangements must also be left to a licensed funeral director. Weathers says Glenn discussed costs with both her mother's insurance company and herself.
I begged him, could you work with me? I don't want to burn my mother. I really want to give her a funeral. Could you work? Would you be willing to work? And he said, if you have $4,100 cash right now, I'll stop this. And obviously I didn't have that, so she was cremated.
Michael Glenn wouldn't talk with us, but we did get one big question answered. How can a funeral director who's had his license permanently revoked continue to work in a funeral home? Turns out it's perfectly legal as long as that person never again performs the role of a funeral director. South Carolina law even allows them to own a funeral home.
And Glenn is not the only former funeral director accused of misconduct in a funeral home after a license was taken away. In February, 7 News first told you about Lawrence Meadows, the co-owner of First Family Funeral Home. His license was revoked in 2015 after he forged insurance documents. Last week, he was charged with destruction, desecration, or removal of human remains after failing to cremate a body for 3 years. After what happened to others, Weathers is grateful her mother's friends eventually raised enough money to enable her to finally bring her mother's ashes home.
I still don't know what my rights are. I just know that what it felt like. I just know it felt horrible the way I was treated.
McMillan hopes more families learn their rights and research the funeral board findings before the time comes when they feel the sting of grief.
Oh, you got rights. If people do you wrong, you just have to stand up to it and fight it to the end.
These public documents on funeral home violations aren't exactly easy to find on LLR's website. I talked to the agency about that, and it is in the process of revamping the site. For now, we have a link to the exact page where you can see the public reprimands for all South Carolina funeral homes. Just look for this story on WSVA.com. In the studio, Diane Lee, 7 News.